Hello, my darlings. This is your host, Madam Tilly, and these are my boobs. And this is my friend, Victoria Holgrave.
Hello.
And welcome to ERP. That's the Elezen Retrospective Podcast for the uneducated. Here in my hentai stars uniform. She's dressed in her BSA uniform. Because we're going to talk about some Resident Evil games. Yes, Queen. Oh yeah, Vicky was with me last year when we just talked about the series for like 4 hours or something. I don't know, it was a fake podcast. It was a fun one though.
It was a large podcast.
Oh, that's a nice that's a nice emote you got there, Zara. And also, don't fret me, have a good time.
Oh, hello.
Hey guys, thank you for the lurk. I just noticed my boob was covering part of the chat. Let me scoot over the word to the left. Okay. And but thank you for the lurk. Hey Zoran, good to see you. Hi Stu. Alrighty. Oh yeah, so let's let me skip over to the other monitor real quick. Okay. Now, let's see here. Oh, start with possibly my favorite of all time, Resident Evil Remake.
Oh, Resident Evil Remake. Oh, that one's a good one.
Yeah, like my favorite game on the GameCube for sure.
Let's see. I'm gonna kind of throw people for a loop here. Yeah, my first Resident Evil game wasn't Remake, but it was what got me further into the series.
Yeah.
However, personally, I'm only gonna put Remake in A tier.
Alright. Let's see here. Anyway, it's actually, in fact, I'll, see. Okay, so you think it's A tier? I'm gonna at least put, at least high A tier for me, so.
Yeah, it's definitely a high A tier, but it is still an A tier. There are some aspects of it that were there in the original that got done better, but there were some other things where I was just like,
Well, like
no thanks.
tank controls, or was it the inventory system? Lisa.
If we're gonna talk about what the weirdness was with Remake, for me personally, it was the addition of the Crimson Heads. Yeah, the Crimson Heads were a really interesting enemy later on in my adult life.
Yeah.
But when I first played the game, I hated it because I almost always forgot to burn the zombies.
Right. Oh man, that added a couple months onto my playtime because I was too scared. I put it right back down. Because zombies already freaked me out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like how it was obscure at first for being on GameCube. But then when it came on PSN, it was like the most selling game.
Yeah, it's one of the highest grossing Resident Evil games.
Let's see here. I want to get the Wii version because I don't think anyone talks about that one.
The Wii version was actually kind of fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah.
It felt like, just personal opinion, that the tank controls that they used fit the Wii somehow really well.
Were you allowed to, like, physically aim or something, or just
You could, yeah, you could, like, you could actually, if I remember correctly, you could actually use the motions like you would, say, for example, you would use the buttons and then the motion, right?
Yeah.
Like, you would be able to hold it out like you were using a firearm and actually hit the I think it's the Z button or whatever it was to actually use if you to use the weapon were if you had it set up that way. From what I remember, it's been a very long time, so.
Let's jump ahead, but that sounds like a godsend for the monkeys in Resident Evil 0.
Oh my goodness, yeah. God, I hated those things.
Yeah.
So at the time when Remake came out, it actually did shoot up to being it shot up to being, this is in 2014, it shot up to being the highest selling Resident Evil game to date.
Today. Or in 14.
In 2014. To that date, it was the highest grossing version of Resident Evil.
Huh, secondary 4.
And that is, and believe it or not, Resident Evil 4 is not even in the top 3.
Interesting. You know what it is?
I do. I actually have the list up. According to Statista, as of December 2021, Resident Evil 7 is the highest grossing by millions of units sold at 10.6.
You think it was the VR?
Believe it or not, no, I don't. This is where I hate to like throw people at this kind of opinion. VR is still kind of too niche for VR to have actually had any effect on on Resident Evil 7 in 2017. Sure, it took Resident Evil 7 a couple years to get to the point of selling that many, but VR definitely was. I barely saw anybody ever play it with the VR. Maybe like a few streamers here and there who actually could afford a headset. Because at the time, headsets were still the price of a brand new PlayStation 4.
Yeah, like I got the PSVR because that was the poor man's VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking scary.
Yeah, and then of course there's people like me who can't use VR. Because it legitimately, like, people with motion sickness, it's very dangerous for VR. For a lot of people.
That's a shame, because I think you would do well in VR chat.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for me, for example, like, I actually go a little bit beyond the motion sickness. My motion sickness in VR is because of my visual impairment.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't see at all out of my right eye, so I don't have full vision. But I will give them credit where credit is due. They tried something new, used the VR, and people who actually did play the VR version of the game absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was like one of the very first actually long-length VR, because I can tell you, most VR games, especially when they first started, they were like short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 2 hours tops. So now they're starting to get some long-form games.
Oh yeah, especially with the new Resident Evil VR game that's coming is Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna definitely see a high point there with Resident Evil in VR because of Resident Evil 4.
I'm gonna see no ballistics.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. It was good times back then.
Good times.
Okay, I thought it was a good time when, say, Resident Evil 2 Remake burst onto the scene. What'd you say of 2 Remake?
2 Remake? I'll be honest. I haven't finished 2 Remake yet.
Yeah?
Um,
Take the curiosity.
mostly because I struggled in kind of like the mid area of the police station.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where you're getting ready to actually like leave the police station to go with whoever, depending on what character you're playing, to go with your partner character.
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with that one. Even in I think at one point I got so frustrated with it, I actually used a speed run tactic in order to just completely skip sections of the early story so I could get to the point where the tyrant dies.
Oh, so Mr. X was your roadblock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was, unfortunately.
Yeah, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, just, playing cat and mouse with him sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I know in B scenario, he is constantly stalking you. You clearly just stand. One time I tested out, I went to, like, a forest, most remote part of the map, and just stood perfectly still, didn't shoot a bullet or nothing, and he eventually came up on me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because, and this is really weird, but he actually has really good vision.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he's in another side of the police station, his model does not stop moving. It actually continually moves through the map. It has a patrol route. He will patrol every single room that is not a safe room.
Yeah.
In order to find you. If he sees you, even if you're standing still, he can see you, and he will attack you. And that was probably what terrified me the most about 2 Remake.
Yeah, like one time I just went outside, just kind of like fired some bullets, just gets attention, and just kind of waited. It took him a couple minutes, but then you kind of look down at the barrel scope, and you just see him so quietly approaching in the distance. Like, this is so scary and stalkerish. It was like Michael Myers-ish.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But that's also what made 2 Remake a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, go on.
Because honestly, they knew when the gimmick was done. They knew when the gimmick in the game was done, and they got rid of the character that didn't need to be there anymore. It was smart the way they played it out too.
Yeah. I didn't really like the original 2 at much because it just I felt the PlayStation was too well lit. That was my main gripe about it. It just there was flickers. It felt a little too more kind of safe compared to the mansion. But then of course this one comes out and the station's dark as fuck. Like this is like the appropriate lighting for scary. And
yeah. And it really was too, because with like certain things, I mean, you're looking at so much like darkness where there's something that can jump out at you in several places, and you would never know something was there. So like you go into it, you start opening the door to a dark room. You better open that door really, really slowly. Never been in there before, because there might be a licker around the corner, and if you open that door too fast, they will attack you. Because they were sound activated. You could walk and be just fine, but if you were too fast, you shot your gun, or you made any noise in any way, shape, or form, they would attack you hard. And you couldn't touch them either, so you had to be very careful when you were walking.
Oh man, but yeah, so this is like one of my possibly my favorite Resident Evil, at least in the modern era. So, S tier for me. Where would you put it though?
So because I've never finished it, I'm gonna give it kind of a lower A, but I'm still gonna give it an A because it was phenomenal for what it did.
Also, for PC lovers, it's got the most nude mods. Ooh.
That's true. Even Mr. X has some very risque mods.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes just Mr. X gonna give it to you. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I like. I like. Do I want to be like a bandana sling bikini, or do I just want like a big ass buff female like big Olga coming to wrestle? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah, the mods are hilarious. I'm actually looking into doing some mods, probably a modded run of 3 remake pretty soon.
Nice. Oh, okay. Let's see here. And then, Resident Evil 6.
Oh,
You got
I'm gonna get so much hell for this.
Here we go.
Resident Evil 6 is going to be an S tier for me.
Yeah, it's clean. Like, I would put it at high A, but S is fine too.
I'm going to actually say that it is an S rank for me because they finally gave one of my favorite characters in the series a fucking personality. Like, they showed that no matter what she did throughout the rest of the series, she actually cared and had some semblance of emotion. She wasn't just a megalomaniac mercenary who worked for the highest bidder. She had emotion. And yes, of course, I am talking about Ada.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my second favorite character is playable in the game as well, who we actually watch kind of in the space of time between 2 and 6. We watch her grow up. Good old Sherry Birkin.
Yeah. Crazy that we grew up with the character.
Yeah, and believe it or not, like, I actually looked this up, but Sherry Birkin, canonically in the series, is older than I am.
Oh.
She was born in 1986 because she was 12 when Raccoon City happened.
Oh, she's my age.
Yeah. I was born in 91, so she's older than me. And another interesting fact about that, going to the one that shows up next on my list, one of the main female characters in Revelations 2 is my age.
Nice. But a little more on Sits. Yeah, like, it was a little... First off, we get to move and shoot for once. First time. Nice.
Yeah.
Technically, not the first time, but in the main line.
But it was much better.
Yes. Freaking... Yeah, it was one of the longest Resident Evils. Like, it was literally 3-4 games in one.
It was,
Yeah, you could literally just split up the campaigns and make 3 different sales. Let's see here. Leah and Helena. Helena was nice. Let's see here. Chris, they should have retired his ass there. Let Pierce take over. But, oh well.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that was originally what was supposed to happen, but I'm not sure why it got changed. Like, I've always heard that rumor, but I can never find any evidence to back it up. So it's just like, okay, well, somebody's either spouting shit or it actually was going to happen and something kind of just got shifted off somewhere.
It's like, well, we killed off Wesker.
I personally, and this is probably gonna sound really weird, but I liked Piers as a character.
Oh, yeah?
Simply because he actually cared. He, again, and that's like, because a lot of the characters that they introduce in situations like that, like, you could introduce a character in this, that, and the other thing, but he actually cared enough to actually, like, keep Chris on track to the point of they became really good friends. So,
yeah. We all got a friend like that.
Yeah, exactly. There is always that friend out there. Every friend group has what I like to call the mom friend. And Piers was definitely the mom friend.
My sister Leanne had the biggest crush on Piers. Like, I had to send her some every time I found some new hentai. I saw Piers, I'd send it to her.
Dude, Piers was a handsome motherfucker. Okay?
Oh yeah, shredded.
Like, I have a preference for women, but Piers. Yep.
If he grows hair out, he can femboy him.
Oh yeah.
Then we got Jake and Sherry, which was a different type of gameplay too. A lot of stealth or mechanics going on. Definitely the fisticuffs needed some work, but yeah, that was interesting.
I was kind of okay with that personally.
Yeah.
For them, because of what that campaign was supposed to be. Because it kind of gets overlooked because I mean, a lot of the enemies, like the smaller enemies, both Sherry and Jake, if they get them in the right way, can one-shot them with a punch.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, of course, in Resident Evil 2, Sherry was infected with the G virus. And it is actually still dormant in her body to the point of she has enhanced strength, she has slightly enhanced speed, and she has a rapid healing factor. Which is actually shown in the campaign, which I really like.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people were like, but Jake makes no sense, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but yes, he does, because you find out in the beginning of the campaign that he is Wesker's son.
Mm-hmm.
And is 98.9% immune to the current virus that is attacking the world. Like, the dude absorbs viruses like it's candy. Wesker was trying to create the perfect being within himself. Little did he know that his son was going to be the perfect being.
That's ironic. Also, we learned in this in the game that never let Leon drive.
I thought we learned that in Resident Evil 2.
Also, never try to help Leon. Every single soldier that tried to help Leon got himself killed. Like,
every single one.
If you see that man, just run like the plague. Even if there's zombies coming at you in your direction, just run towards the zombies. You'll be safer with them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man, like Leon's freaking innocent bystander count is laughable.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a video. Oh man, 2, 4, 6. Oh man, good lordy. Also, but I do love Leon's outfit, the blue shirt look, and I love Ada's outfit too, the red with the black leather pants.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. They finally showed that Ada could be sexy without being too overtly sexy and showing too much. And they showed that Leon can actually look really goddamn good in anything.
Oh, yes. Okay, so, but yeah, it's an underrated classic. Yeah, it definitely came out at the wrong time, I guess, because people were just still reeling after 5.
Yeah.
I guess we can never unsee that logo.
Never unsee that logo.
So Resident Evil Revelations 2.
I'm as much as I really like Revelations 2, I'm going to give it a B rank.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a middling B rank. And a lot of people will agree with me on this point.
Yeah.
I feel like the game would have been better had it not been split up into an episodic release.
Funny story of that. It's like they saw that how Telltale and Life is Strange was kicking ass at that time. So they wanted to get on the episodic train, And so yeah, episode 1 came out. And I think they're so not used to like get $5 for a game release,
Mm-hmm.
and said so they're like just like this feels so weird. Where's the other $55? So instead of just so that's the very next month they just released all the episodes at once, include the DLCs. Like here's the rest of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did. They did. I bought
that,
it after that release.
yeah.
After that, because I was like,
Get on
nope,
sale too. Um,
nope.
but yeah, it's funny. They want to get on a trend, and they're like, $5 at a time, icky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did have some fairly interesting characters, and I mean,
Yes.
it actually introduced characters who are actually later on mentioned in the mainline Resident Evil series. So the Revelations series can actually be considered a branching and concurrent, like happens at the same time as other events going on in the main timeline. But it's part of the main series. Like, people are like, oh, it's a spin-off. No, it's not a spin-off. A spin-off means it's its own new timeline, separate from everything else. It's not separate. It actually exists in the main timeline.
Yeah, it's the real Resident Evil 8. Or something.
It's well, not really, because there is actually another game on here that is actually the real release, the real 8th release.
Yeah, I know, not too accurate. Because I know, because you can go talk about it with like Veronica and stuff like that. Um, but so yeah, like well, Revelation 2. Yeah, kind of the business model design aside. I think the gameplay and the atmosphere is very awesome. This was the closest return we had to survival horror to bits. Very bleak and dark and stuff and creepy. Let's see here. I just didn't think having the co-partner in a game with a 2-player. I think there was 2-player. Yes, there was 2-player, but still, like the limited gameplay for the second player.
Mm-hmm.
Like you assist me. It's like Moira, like shine that flashlight. Open that door.
And then,
So you feel included.
yeah, and then of course, when it came to the second playable pair of the campaign, it actually made sense that character was going to be a support character. It made a lot of sense. They tried to play Moira off kind of, and she had a reason not to use a gun. She had a reason. And because of course, with Moira being the daughter, the surviving daughter of Barry Burton, she there was, of course, I don't know how many people know Moira's backstory, but there was a accidental discharge, and she was responsible, and that's why they don't talk about the sister.
Yeah, it just feels like it's like in this situation you gotta put that aside, Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, and I actually kind of agree with this. The way that they played it was actually the correct move, because Moira was indeed diagnosed in canon with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
So that's why it takes a lot for her to actually finally pick up a gun and use it.
Yeah. So and I think was it you gotta use Moira to shoot the monster and get the good ending.
Yes, you have to use Moira to shoot the boss in that section.
So all in all, yeah, it's good game, bad business practices. But yeah, I gotta give it a B.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, low A, high B for me. But Resident Evil 5.
Resident Evil 5. Oh God. There will be a few people who would disagree with me here, but D.
D. Wow.
can't even give it a C. I can't because of how simply bad it was, and all of the controversy surrounding the game itself prior to release.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, that was a lose-lose situation. You know, it's like, oh, shooting black people, but it's in Africa. If the tribals were white, they need to be bitching about that. You know, so lose.
Right. And then of course, yeah, they did add some lighter skinned character enemies, right?
Yeah.
Well, again, a lot of those were the how do I turn this and not be freaking weird about it? The quote unquote colonizing force of the game. I mean, your light skinned enemies were douchebag businessman who sells out village. The light-skinned, probably half-white, African businesswoman.
Speaking of white, White Falcon, thank you for the raid, darling. Come on in, darlings. Welcome. I'm your host, Madam Tilly, and these are my boobs. And this is my friend Victoria. And
hello.
Welcome to the Waifu Tavern. How's it going? Let's see here. Let me give you a shout out here. How was Borderlands? I do believe it was it was Borderlands.
Oh, free sequel. Nice. That's a good game.
I've been wanting to play Free and Tiny Tina. You know what,
Wonderlands or the DLC one shot of that became its
Wonderlands.
own game. Wonderlands is nice, yeah. I need to pick up Wonderlands. I have 3.
Yeah. We should play sometime.
Yeah.
I've
been playing with Chib.
Good to see that. Mwah. Thank you so much for the raid, darling. Yeah, we're on the Elezen Retrospective Podcast, ERP, and we're ranking all the Resident Evil games. So we're on about 5. Now 5, I thought the gameplay was right. There's a few parts of it I really enjoyed. I love fighting Wesker. And Sheva was gorgeous. And the Mercenaries mode I had the most fun with, though. I was thinking of all Resident Evil games, that one had the best Mercenaries mode.
I agree. And while it did kind of spawn the Chris punching the boulder beam, I firmly believe that was Capcom trying to tell us that at some point, Chris was immune to the T-virus in Resident Evil 1, but he actually got infected, so now he's kind of got like a superhuman strength.
Oh.
I firmly believe that was what Capcom was trying to tell us there.
I had put together my own headcanon, which was like, so Chris started off in the Air Force, right? And then, cause you remember,
Delta,
yeah. And you recall, like, on the cover, I think of the director's cut, he's, like, holding the shotgun, making a face. He looks like he's all strung out on crack, because he's so skinny.
Yeah.
So I figured he started out in the Air Force, got kicked out because he got hooked on crack. And then when you go to a zombie-filled mansion, that's going to sober your ass up. Yeah. So, and then eventually got Veronica, got his ass whooped by Wesker, got demoralized by it, so then he started pumping the steroids. You know? And so, yeah, I think that's my headcanon.
You know what? That is not the first time I've heard something like that from somebody, so you're definitely not alone.
Oh, man. So, I'd say, I gotta give it like a low C in my opinion, but you want to stick with a D?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it in D because...
Okay.
Even the co-op play was incredibly buggy. I mean, I did the local co-op for Christ's sake.
Oh, me too.
And it was so bad.
Yeah, it's like you throw your partner over the wall. Like, okay, you got the puzzle done yet? Yeah. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah, for real. And like they did that better in 6, but like it was the first time they had done an action-oriented. And it was the first time they had done, an action-oriented Resident Evil like that.
That's true, because like in 6, it made sure you required both people to help solve that puzzle. You know, because there's lots of them. Whereas 5, it's like you literally split the party. Um, yeah. Yeah, oftentimes in sits, you can still see your partner from across the view and still give some long range fire support. Not so much in 5. Yeah, so you got no bullets, you're on your own.
No bullets on your own. Get heck.
Okay. Speaking of on your own or split up, but Resident Evil 0.
Resident Evil.
Can barely hear. Oh, Let me try and crank this up a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know. My mic is kind of weird.
How's
Hold
it?
on.
How's she now?
I also was kind of sitting back a little bit, so that probably contributed. Okay, so with 0,
Much better. Okay.
it's gonna go up there, right next to Resident
Hi,
Evil 6.
Faraday.
Except for 0 is going to get a high S tier.
Live 14 is a good game. I'm missing 14. So yeah, personally, I'd say 0 probably be like a high A for me. Like I still like, cause I still like a 1 over 0, but I did love them both. I think probably it's just that yeah, like because everyone hates this game for how difficult it is. It was like the second hardest Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, if because people are very prideful, like if you play the game on easy, it's a totally different game. You know, it's actually a manageable game.
It is. It's a
Yeah.
very different game, and
Yeah.
I think the point with that, and I don't think a lot of people kind of realize this, but
Sage.
um, the I think the point was to ease yourself into the new mechanic that they introduced. They kind of wanted you to start on easy and then play normal and then play hard. They wanted you to get used to it and then get all of the good unlocks and stuff. But I kind of agree that the entire game, like all 3 of them should have been, you know, because I mean, the other games, think about this for a second. The only real difference between the other games on easy mode was how you started the game. Like, for example, the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, right? When you started the game on easy, when Jill jumps out of the fire from her apartment, right? Her first starting weapon is an infinite ammo assault rifle.
Oh, I missed that game. God.
It was
Alright,
the first.
I love
It
that
was the
setting.
first Resident Evil I ever finished.
Oh man, so yeah, because Zero's on normal, those monkeys and also the Bleach were just like too fucking hard.
They
Um,
were. They were
and
incredibly hard.
and honestly, I don't think there's just enough healing items in that game for to support 2 people. If it was just one character or the other, then yeah,
Hmm.
I think the game would be a little more manageable.
I
Uh,
agree.
but yeah, there's just not enough to keep both alive, in my opinion. So yeah, play the game on easy, suck up your pride, and literally you will enjoy it 0.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
especially now with the release, it had like 14 all the DLC costumes for Rebecca.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Because I have them all. I have them all.
Yeah, that's clean. Yeah, like Rebecca looking cute in so many of them. Billy to get like 2 little token ugly costumes. No DLC for remake 1 for some odd reason.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of need to give 0 a little
Eh,
something to boost it up to 1.
I actually don't remember that being true. Remake 1. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Well,
Uh, remake 1. Let's see. Resident
oh,
Evil.
I'll give it the Resident Evil 5 costumes, but that's about it.
Yeah, those are technically.
And I agree, Faraday.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, but also, hey, you also got that Wesker mode you can unlock, which is fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was fun stuff.
Oh
Yeah, I'm I need you to see this list that I'm let me screenshot this. Hold on.
man. Okay.
So this is my personal library list
For Steam.
on Steam.
Nice. Yeah, mine's like scattered amongst all the consoles and stuff.
Now here's the fun part.
Yeah.
I actually own Resident Evil 2 twice. Because I also own the PS4 version.
Uh,
I don't own 3. I have 3 through because I share library
yeah.
with a couple people. So
Mhm.
I have 3. I have 3 and 7
I wish I could have got a free
through.
remake when it was on sale, but that's the
Mm-hmm.
square to cash at the time. It looks like Capcom goes on sale every other month. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
free also has a ridiculous amount of loot mods. Um, but it's let's see. Yeah, I own Resident Evil 1. I had it on GameCube, but I got it on PS4 and on Steam. I own two
Nice.
copies of Revelations 2, 2 copies of RE6 and RE5. So yeah, I got some multiples. RE4, yep. Um,
Yep. The four,
it's
five, six pack.
yeah. So I remember, yeah, there was like there was like a 0-1 pack, and then there was like a 2 free and Veronica pack on the Dreamcast. It's pretty rare. I sent it to our old friend, not your, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then let's see here. I think they came up with 7. Yeah, now it's 7/8 in the 2 pack as well. Um, let's see here, and they got the shooters are in the pack now too, the first person ones.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, anyways, you say your very first one was Resident Evil 3, which is that's on our list here. Nemesis.
Yep, Nemesis. Simply because I actually played through it several times back to back. I effectively memorized that entire game. To the
Nice.
point of I actually have every single infinite ammo weapon unlocked legitimately in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So that is my like my highest rank of S tier. That's like the triple S tier is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Okay, so yeah, that's our baby. And yeah, I really loved it. I never finished it technically, because he scared the shit out of me. Especially with him being so random. Like I'd say more random than like the remake. Uh, and
Uh, yeah, yeah,
more places to roam. I felt like there was more guns too. So in a way,
there
it's
was.
like remake was kind of a step down, but still good. Um, but yeah, Nemesis, and it was always unpredictable too, like how much it takes to put him down. Because I remember I
Mhm.
literally took a dozen Magnum rounds to knock him down, and then he immediately got up. Couldn't even get a chance to loot him. He immediately got right back up. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, and if, or you knew like as soon as you go off screen from the door, he's gonna pop right behind you. Sometimes if he was chasing you.
Yeah. I remember going towards the clock tower, towards the area where the ground falls out from under you, and
Yeah.
you have to fight the gravedigger the first time in the
Mm-hmm.
sewer. When you first go through there, if he's chasing you from a previous area, he will. It's actually considered, and a lot of people they found this out way later. It's actually on normal and easy mode. It is considered a safe zone. It's considered a safe room for him. He will not follow you there. But on hard mode, I found out that there is a chance that he will follow you through there the first time you go through. And it's terrifying because the first time you go through there is when the ground starts breaking from the first time the gravedigger goes through.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying for that to happen under your feet while the nemesis is chasing you.
Had the scariest Nemesis moment.
Yeah, that was scarier than the crocodile in Resident Evil 2 original.
Mm. Let's see here. Also, I really liked all of the jail outfits in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another reason for me to put Nemesis up there in the triple S rank for me is simply because Regina, the Regina outfit.
Yeah. Bring
because
back
it
dinos.
because if you think about it, Regina is literally a retextured Jill.
Yeah, I can see that.
Same hairstyle, different hair color, different outfit, but it works. Like the if you look at the textures that have been ripped from the data files, they're identical in dimensions, size, everything. Like the size of the file and the dimensions of the file and how the layout of the texture is identical.
Man, if all these Jurassic Park movies coming out, like the new dinosaurs and stuff, man, they need to make another Dino Crisis games.
Also, I really like people who are shitting on Capcom right now for doing Exoprimal instead of Dino Crisis need to hear me out. What if Exoprimal is the video game release beta for the way that dinosaurs will work in the Reach for the Moon engine, which is what the RE engine is actually called. It's the Reach for the Moon.
Yeah.
It's not RE because of Resident Evil. It's not the Resident Evil engine. It's Reach for the Moon. Hence the hand in front of the moon. They're smart. Their fans have been asking for a Dino Crisis remake for a decade and a half.
Yes, I know. It's just that it's just a kind of a bad marketing move because basically, if fans are waiting that fucking long, then you had to give them exactly what they want.
Well, here's another reason why I think this is the case.
Yeah.
Do you know how many years it's been since Dino Crisis was released?
A lot.
It was July 1st, 1999. How many years is that?
23.
It is, let's see. Let me pull it up. So in 2025 or in 2024, okay? It will be 25 years, the 25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. The point I was trying to make is like using I remember Metroid Federation Force. Yeah, like that's what we got after waiting like nearly a decade or something. So people shit on a game regardless if it was gonna be good or not. You know. So I think if a game was like it's only been like 2 years, then do your other game. But it's been like 12 plus years. Give us exactly what we want. You know.
I think the reason why the reason why they're not giving us exactly what we want is because exactly what we want is a perfect game that doesn't suck. And Capcom is known for doing really good games. And I mean, personal opinion, Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and Resident Evil 3 Remake are perfect remakes for their own remake timeline, which they are their own timeline. And they're perfect for that timeline that was started with Resident Evil 1 Remake, and they kept it going. And the quality that they look for on their video games, had they tried to rush it and show it at Summer Game Fest this year, I feel like fans would have been pissed off because it wasn't up to snuff, because we would have got our announcement this year and then we wouldn't have got it for another 3 years, and then people would have been pissed off because of that.
Yeah. It's hard trying to please people.
It is. Can't please everyone.
All right. What about the original RE2? How do you feel about it?
I legitimately had nightmares because of the original Resident Evil 2. I have never actually played and finished that game to full. I have seen it all, but this is because when I was actually really young when this game came out.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was born in '91, so if you think about this for a second, during the events of Resident Evil 2, with it being in September and all of 1998,
Mhm.
I still would have been 6 years old. So when the game came out, I wasn't much older than that. And it was legitimately terrifying. What really, really, really got me with Resident Evil 2, I got through a majority of the game with no problem, no nightmares, right? And then my dad fought the crocodile.
Oh wow.
It was the giant crocodile in the sewer that you had to blow up that gave me nightmares. Everything else, just fine. That crocodile?
Was it the jump scare part?
Uh, when it first comes out, it was kind of... I wasn't really scared about that part. It was more about the fact that when it opened its mouth to snap at Leon,
Mm-hmm.
it opens its mouth wide enough it can swallow Leon whole.
Gotcha.
And that's terrifying. That was terrifying for me at the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do like because it's got like a lot of content for it, especially game back then. Like 4 playthroughs, lots of guns and stuff. Like
Yeah.
you know, like I said, the setting, the well-lit police station didn't really do it for me. I give it a B. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm you know what? Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Simply for that reason alone. The horror atmosphere kind of was lost, but the overall story was good. The mechanics were good. The guns felt good for the time. The enemies were good for the time. I mean, 2 discs, 4 campaigns, space of 4 playthroughs. Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I was queen.
But that freaking alligator, man.
Now we take the alligator out and replace it with Big Titty Vampire, and we kind of say the same thing about RE Village.
Oh man, Ari Village is an S rank for me
Nice.
because they did so much to make everything make sense. They pulled in they kind of pulled in a really big story like hook for for Ethan. There was some really big reveals about Ethan that actually confirmed a theory that I had about Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
And I was very glad. If you want to skip games, do not skip 7 before you get Village. Otherwise, some of the stuff that they talk about in Village will make no sense.
Yeah, I can see that because it's technically trying to do its own trilogy. I think.
Yeah. 7 and Village are the start of kind of its own trilogy where the main character is a Winters.
Yeah, I'm not sure because they come out with a DLC where you play Mia or whatever her name is.
You play Rose.
Rose,
The upcoming DLC you'll be playing the daughter of Ethan Winters.
So I just wonder, did you just give her a DLC and not give her own game instead, or?
They might actually give her own game. However, with what's said about the time passing, she's not much older than Sherry was during the events of Resident Evil 2. She just rapidly ages due to some things
That sucks.
that are spoilers for Resident Evil 7, so I won't say shit.
Man, that guy sucks like fuck. I want to get to live like what 30? Oh man.
Right. She's kind of stopped aging. It kind of looks like, but
Oh, anime
'cause
logic.
it's kind of it's anime logic really because I mean she's maybe like 13, 14 years old in the post-credit scene for Village, and she looks like she's 18.
Yep, Sailor Moon. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I heard a loose rumor. I doubt it, but they're actually gonna do another game of like Lady D because she was super popular.
Uh,
And I could.
there
Hmm?
is a thing with her.
Yeah.
Heisenberg and Lady Dimitrescu, Lady Alcina Dimitrescu, are going to be playable characters in the Mercenaries mode of Resident Evil Village.
Nice. But yeah, I could see like making another game that's just set in that Eastern setting, away from all of the Raccoon City stuff, and just have like like the protagonist, the random protagonist, just get away at the end or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that Texas Chainsaw Massacre prequel. It's like, well,
Yeah.
like the villain's gotta live, but hey, at least we got a good movie out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, enjoyed all the vampire characters. I never got to play this one personally. I watched what was it? But yeah, it looked like a nice step up from 7, although it did cut back on the horror elements. But yeah, so definitely at least an A. What would you say you want? S?
Oh, I tossed that one up in the S rank because of they filled in plot holes.
Okay.
Lots of plot holes were filled, and it just overall, and they found the balance that they were looking for. Because here's the thing, they didn't go for what a traditional survival horror genre would be looking at.
Yeah.
There is an entire boss in the game that here, hold on. What's it called? There is an entire boss section that is actually pediophobia, which is the fear of dolls.
Oh.
And also like extreme body horror in the same section. Far greater body horror than has ever been in a Resident Evil game before.
Oh, Faraday, nice emote dialing. She's showing off. Hello. Oh, that's right. Faraday is a doll tuber.
Yeah, I'm very particular with the dolls that I can be around. If the dolls are sweet and nice and not trying to murder you with axes, hammers, knives, railroad ties, and circular saw blades, then they're just fine.
Is this from the game or from Child's Play?
This is actually in Resident Evil Village.
Oh dear.
Yes, this is an entire boss fight.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, fair. I think the dolls basically they're nice. They just took a self-defense class. Yeah.
Kind of interestingly enough, it's actually it's a little bit more than just like the fear of, like, for example, regular dolls. Like it's not porcelain dolls. It's quite specifically the fear of marionettes.
Oh, okay. Marionettes are pretty cool. Let's see here.
Which is technically pupophobia, but
Oh man. So what do you think of Resident Evil Gaiden? Let me get Mary up in here. Oh hell yeah.
oh man, Gaiden?
Yeah.
Uh
The opposite end of the spectrum.
Game Boy Color game that I actually played in the same year that it was released.
Oh wow.
I had no problem with it.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun, personally. I would give it an A. Because with Gaiden, what they tried to introduce was actually really good, and it led to
Thank you for alert, darling.
it led to Leon having friendly relationships outside of his work.
Nice. Cute dolly. Cute dolly.
and led into another series of games that I actually really like, that are on this list. I see them. So, I definitely think that it's worth the A. It's probably a middling A, but it's still an A for me because it's actually a really good game for what it was and what it could do at the time.
Yeah, a lot of people say like the worst, but no, I think there's worse ones out there.
There's worse,
So
and they're on this list.
I have never even seen anything of RE Verse. What's that?
So RE Verse is the kind of let me pull it up because it's on Steam. It came with it's supposed to come out at some point this year. It was part of the pack that came with Village. It's the online game where you play in 6-person deathmatch battles. But when you die, after a certain period of time, depending on how much of the virus that you've collected, you actually respawn as a zombie or a hunter or even a tyrant. And when I say tyrant, I mean you can spawn as Jack from Resident Evil 7, Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 Remake, the tyrant, I think, Mr. X from 2 Remake was the other one.
Nice.
And it's basically, it goes on like that. It kind of circles until somebody hits the score.
Okay.
I actually have played this one. I played the beta. When I pre-ordered Resident Evil Village, I got access to the REverse beta.
Yeah.
And I got into it, and of course, I should probably point this out too. I am actually a part of the Resident Evil Ambassador program through Capcom because
nice.
I absolutely love Resident Evil. So I'm like, Resident Evil Verse is going to be just what it sounds like. It is going to be a 6-person online deathmatch where no matter how you respawn, you get to kill people.
Yeah, I wanted to join the Capcom Creators Program, but there's one of the rules of the contract that I'd end up breaking, which is you're not allowed to stream like mod and stream the modded games, and those loot mods.
So here's the thing with that. I wouldn't be too worried about doing the Capcom Creator Program. I would say go for the Resident Evil Ambassador Program.
Okay.
Because you get points for talking about Resident Evil on social media. You can gain so many points per day, and it resets every day. And by I think it's the end at the beginning of the next month, it cycles everything down, collects all of the points, counts them, and then adds it. And the more points you get, the higher your rank will go up. I believe a silver ambassador right now, and what I'm working towards is the platinum ambassador, because platinum ambassadors have a chance to actually go in and talk. Sometimes, this not all the time, but sometimes they have a chance when it gets called for to go in and actually talk to Capcom and be like, this is what I've noticed that people are heavily leaning towards in the community, blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
you have a chance to actually get into some really good stuff. I mean, it's fun. I enjoy talking about Resident Evil, so I joined it. I've been kind of on an off and on hiatus with tweeting because of all things going on. Not everybody has Capcom 100% of the time. I don't. I get distracted.
Yeah.
ADHD brain.
You're like, y'all forget about that COVID virus. How about the T virus in Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Okay. And hence why we're
Oh.
here. So where would
Oh
we
my.
rank the Starling?
You just reminded me of something.
What's that?
One of the games that they had released within a few years prior to the event, prior to the real life event of course the coronavirus, was the C virus
Yeah.
in 6. I just put 2 and 2 together. Wow. Okay. Now for RE-verse, because I actually kind of liked how the gameplay was. It's a very high-paced, action-oriented. You get playable characters like Chris, Leon, Jill, blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah.
Hunk is also playable if I remember correctly. And it's kind of a free for all ish type gameplay where humans can kill humans, zombies can attack humans, and etc. Because you have to kill zombies in order to collect more virus samples than other people in the game. And if you die, you drop your virus samples, and you become well. You don't drop them. The virus samples effectively break, and you become an enemy based off of how many virus samples you had. So I think it's 5 or higher. You become a tyrant.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I would actually deem to put that as a B. For right now, I can't properly rank this one based off of the beta alone. So I'm giving it for a B. It was in beta when I played it.
Alright, but what can you see about RA Resistance?
Oh, I didn't play it.
Ah.
I wasn't interested in the concept of the game. Had it has say been more like had it have been Outbreak instead, I probably would have played it and probably would have placed it up into an S rank because Outbreak. But because I wasn't a very big fan of I'm not a big fan of the 4-on-1 combat, and people should have learned from Evolved. People don't really like the 4-on-1 combat play. You can do that if you want, but if you're gonna do that, you have to put the character that you're playing down in the field and not just somebody who's planting infected on the field from a distance. That's not fun.
So you think like Day by Daylight's the only one that got it right?
What Dead by Daylight is doing, they are doing correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Resistance was that. Firmly believe that Resistance should have been closer to that. So I am actually going to give Resistance I'm going to give Resistance a D because of that.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Alrighty. So, I guess Resident Evil 7.
I finally managed to finish it. The horror aspect of the way that they did some of it reminded me very heavily of some very, very good horror movies. Too many good horror movies to freaking name. Where, you got your mansion in the middle of the Louisiana swamplands. And, there's a I forget what that movie's called, but it's your crazy family. It's your crazy family in the middle of the Louisiana swamp in the Louisiana bayou, and they're infected. They kill you and everybody who comes near the house to protect the one member of the quote unquote family. Because of just simply
and I don't normally rank games based off of how bad they scared me.
Yeah.
But because of how hard Resident Evil 7 scared me, I'm giving it an S rank.
Yeah, and one thing too, it's like everything in that game, like the whole environment is just so gross looking, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The way that it affected that family was gross. And the fact that they straight up called it the mold,
Yeah.
like, dude, it was grotesque.
Oh yeah, that's what killed my dad.
And it was really good, though. Like, sure, I almost threw up twice, but I got past it and I finished the game. I even finished the DLC.
A lot of good DLC, like a lot of content for this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see here. Yeah, it was a tad different. Wish the mold had a bit more variety, like more enemy variety. I wasn't crazy about that Lucas section.
Oh, the Lucas section was.
Like that was a test of patience.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, I'd say it's a very solid and different game. So you say that's?
Oh, I definitely would give that one an S. Absolutely.
Okay, here's what I got. Mercenaries 3D.
I don't know if I ever played Mercenaries 3D. That was what was that even on?
Nintendo 3DS.
Was the 3DS? Yeah. See, I didn't have a 3DS.
Me neither.
But I really liked the concept of the Mercenaries mode. So if it plays just like a Mercenaries mode, I'd probably end up giving it an A, simply because it's Mercenaries. I don't know what the selection of characters looks like in Mercenaries 3D. I heard it was a very big and really good collection of characters. So based off of what I know about it, I would still probably give it an A, simply because it's Mercenaries. Sure, it was on the 3DS, but you know what? It's Mercenaries, bro.
See, I'm gonna Google how many people's on there. So, sorry, Mercenaries 3D. Okay, Wikipedia. Let's see what characters we have.
Okay, let's see. Browser, Wesker, Jill, Chris, Rebecca, Claire, Barry, Leon, and Excella. You could play Excella in that? Oh, that just made it better.
Oh, okay, so basically combine 4 and 5.
Yeah, that just... Well, that makes sense, because I think Mercenaries 3D came out just after... Like, it came out after 5, but before 6.
Alright, and so, that's why I can't believe it's the game. Resident Evil Gun Survivor 2.
Gun Survivor 2. Gun Survivor was kind of interesting. I gotta find it on my list here. Hold up. Let's see. That was Gun Survivor 2 was the Code Veronica based one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I remember correctly, it was the rail shooter.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of 2. I will give 2 a C, simply because it was in a line of games that was very different.
Yeah.
It definitely was meant to be an arcade type game.
Yes, definitely.
Had I been able to play it, say, with a light gun or something, I would have probably ranked it higher. But personal opinion, didn't get to play it with a light gun. I'm gonna give it a C. Otherwise, I would have given it a B.
Let's see here, but what about Resident Evil Outbreak File 2?
Oh man. I'm going to actually, because that's one that I haven't been able to actually do Outbreak and Outbreak File 2 personally. I have watched playthroughs of all of the different stories in Outbreak
Yeah.
and File 2. Based off of that alone, it contains one of my favorite characters in the series, favorite male characters in the series. Um and this is probably going to be no surprise to anyone when I say this, but so would you like to know some Victoria Holgrave lore?
Yes, yes. Give it to us.
My Victoria Holgrave lore actually starts with one of the male characters from Resident Evil Outbreak.
Mm.
Because I wanted to connect to her to the game in some way because she is my Resident Evil OC, and I kind of took her beyond that and made her this whole persona. Um, well, Victoria is the daughter of an Umbrella researcher and the should have been partner of Leon S. Kennedy. The name Kevin Ryman.
Ah.
So her father, he doesn't know this. She doesn't know this. Her mother knows this, but neither of them know this. Her father is Kevin Ryman because they met at a bar, got super drunk, and went back to his place, literally.
Nice.
So, so I will give Outbreak. I would give both of them an A. I would put both of them in A. Because you can't put one in one place without the other. Personal opinion.
Okay. I think we can do that. Yeah, 'cause I definitely like the variety in the characters, especially at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you only had like a choice of one or two characters at the time. This one's like, what, we have 8? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I fought the not being able to pause, especially when you had to deal with your inventories, and they had in the tiny inventory system was a bit panic inducing.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because like in a lot of those, you gotta fucking keep moving, you know. So
Yeah. Stares at the zoo.
yeah. And yeah, the last level of the first game was a bit daunting with that fucking tire that literally walked through the doors. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have to immediately go to another boss fight. Oh, then you
Yeah.
also have to deal with tyrants in that same stage. And not tyrants, hunter betas. Or hunter gamers. Hunters.
In out in the first one.
Yeah, yeah. I think the froggy ones.
So those are, if I remember correctly, let me pull this up. Uh, Appearances, Resident Evil Outbreak. Let's see. The Resident Evil Outbreak was the Hunter R.
Oh, they're pirates.
That was the hunters in the Raccoon City University.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the human reptilian crosses that you're looking at.
Yeah.
They were also the hunters that you could find in the N64 version of Resident Evil 2.
Hey, Huey, darling. Boop. Let's see here. But yeah, those games are totally epic underrated, and I wish they could be ported or remade or something. But I guess due to a copyright issue that can never be messed with ever again.
Which ones?
The Outbreaks.
Uh,
Outbreak may still have a chance.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I
that's
don't-
like half the games, Huey.
I'm not sure that I would say that they don't have a chance to
Yeah.
ever be done. Outbreak is their Outbreak and Outbreak File 2 are their most popular games. Like now they are literally more like sure they didn't sell as many units as say Resident Evil 7 with 10.6 million units sold by 2021, but it is by far by the community response of what people want. They want Outbreak and they want it now.
Yeah.
They want it more than Dino Crisis.
Mm-hmm. So Capcom's got to really care. Oh man. But do we care about Resident Evil Dead Aim?
I'm sorry, you said Resident Evil something, and I kind of just zoned out because from what I remember, that game shouldn't exist.
uh, gosh, yeah, like I remember finding this on like a GameStop shelf way back in the day for like $12. I'm like, I better get this before it goes into the falls into the abyss. Yeah, Dead Aim. I guess I have some odd fond memories of that one. That was a unique experience in my opinion. It wasn't too hard, wasn't too epic. It was just it was very mediocre. The timer was weird. The last bosses was interesting.
Oh, right. That's the
Characters.
one that tried to be that tried to be a gun survival title and was bad.
Yeah, it's technically Survivor 3.
Actually, technically, it was Survivor 4.
Okay.
Because it is the third Resident Evil Gun Survivor, but there was another game in the Gun Survivor series,
Ah.
Dino Crisis.
Ah. But so yeah, and if you like even try to look up like art or anything of it on Google, there's like hardly any pictures. Like maybe like you'll find like one or two pictures. It's such an obscure Resident Evil.
Yeah, I don't even want to put this on the list because of like I hated it. No, but I will rank it. I'll give it a D.
Resistance or Dead Aim.
I played Dead Aim. I got about halfway through it before I got really mad at it and just said no, and I snapped my disc.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how much I did not like the game.
Okay, did you like Umbrella Chronicles?
Yes, I did like Umbrella Chronicles because it filled in some plot holes for the earlier stuff. Especially since the Umbrella Chronicles pertained pretty heavily to a document that was released alongside one of I don't remember which game it was, but it was released alongside one of the Resident Evil games. I think it was either for the Dreamcast or I'm pretty sure it was released somewhere alongside Code Veronica at some point. So quite possibly was Code Veronica, but it was the Wesker report. It is related, if I remember correctly, to what Wesker released to the U.S. government that got Umbrella shut down.
Yeah, so
From what I remember.
Somewhere around 4 and 5 timeline. Was when it got released, I think. But yeah, it was a first-person real shooter that was very effective. Yeah, like the scenes or the holes are filled. And I will say those Wesker levels, like your first time you have to play as Wesker himself, even though we don't get to see him. But also his levels were the fucking hardest.
And that makes sense. That makes sense. I definitely would give Umbrella Chronicles a B. Mostly because I've never finished it, so I can't say how good it ends. Blah blah blah.
Well, I would I beat. So I don't know how I beat it once because I tried to play through it again. And I just could not even touch that last boss. I think it's my reflexes have died down as I got older.
Yeah,
Once
it's
you get
just
to your 30s, your gaming skills just degrade.
Stairs and going to be 31 this year. Oh
Oh
no.
no. And Dark Side Chronicles. My opinion is like I think it's a little bit of a step back from Umbrella. Because I feel like I think Umbrella Chronicles covered more Resident Evil titles, but this was banking on two
Mhm.
and Veronica. So
Yeah.
which are the popular ones at least. So basically, it's like if you're like a Leon Claire fan. Otherwise, I think Umbrella Chronicles actually had more to offer. Definitely a lot more original
Hmm.
scenarios and variety.
Yeah.
But I would say if you really deeply care about RE4, then definitely play this one for some good Krauser lore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because this is the one where it explains how it has Operation, what is it, Javier, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's probably why I would put it as a B, is because it gives me lore that I was really curious about that I had to look up otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so because I did get to play the, Operation Javier stuff, and I was like, dang, dude, that explains some stuff. So I'll give both of the Chronicles games uh, a B, because they deserve recognition for what they are.
Oh yeah. Also, I will say this is one of the few games I got on the very obscure PlayStation Move. Anyone remember that?
Oh my god, you had a PlayStation
I
Move?
still have it. Yep.
Damn.
It's kind of like my zombie shoe because I got like all the House of the Dead games on it, and a couple games, but yeah, I had more faith in it than Sony did. Um, and luckily I saved myself I guess $80 when the VR I got the VR headset. They want to charge $80 for those fucking controllers.
Yeah,
I
but since you already had the Move, you
yeah,
already basically had it.
so I got those controllers for 30. Yeah, suckers. Oh man,
Nice.
Resident Evil 3 remake.
Uh, I've finished it several times. I'm actually going through on a playthrough uh to do it again, just because
Woo.
I wanna get my achievements. Um, I'm gonna give that one a kind of a high A. I would dare say, because I'm not a huge fan of the way that some of the camera angles were in Resident Evil 1 remake.
Okay.
Um, Resident Evil 3 remake will actually go above that in my A rank.
Alright, fair
Because
enough.
you can move while you're shooting, so dealing with the nemesis in certain locations is a lot easier. They did make the nemesis encounters a little bit easier, because you only ever have scripted sections where he has weapons.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas in the original Resident Evil, he could have a weapon anytime he came to see you.
Okay, so when he randomly jumps you, he's just fisticuffs.
Yeah. He kind of just comes out of nowhere. Something that disappointed me, and this is, I have very little to say bad about Resident Evil, but something that disappointed me
Hmm.
was Resident Evil Remake did not have the section in the game where you could throw the lantern into the restaurant and blow him up to get to get the item.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they cut a lot of content out of this game. I said, yeah, like I said, you made it easier to deal with, which makes it a little less scary, just a little more annoying. So yeah, I think the Nemesis is better than remake, but it's still a decent game.
I will
Um,
say that with the sure they removed stuff, but they made a section longer that needed to be longer in the original so that you could understand who this dude was. They made Carlos's section longer.
Yes, that's good.
And they made him hot.
I thought he was good looking too. The first original.
Well, if you have all the stuff if you have all of the DLC for uh 3 remake, you can actually get his slicked back look from
Yeah.
the original. And
Uh,
god damn, he's hot.
I've gotten over it, but probably one of the things that prevented me from buying the game originally was the fact that they gave Jill pants.
Yeah, and then they released the classic outfit,
Yeah, it's that.
which was always a squirt, by the way.
I could have swore you could have saw upper skirt, especially when you wore it in the Resident 1 remake.
Nope. It was always a squirt. It was always a squirt.
Yeah, no. Honestly, no. I do believe you actually see some panty shots in the remake 1.
In remake 1, yes, it was the only time where it wasn't a squirt.
Yeah, I know.
It was a tube top and a skirt. Yeah.
I never been a fan of squirts. It's like pick one. Shorts or skirt, please.
Yeah, pick one. Pick one or the other. But
but yeah, I done got over that. Honestly, I had to pick this game up when it goes on sale. It's like the only reason I don't have.
Yeah, definitely pick it up if you don't have it. Especially if it goes on sale. Most certainly, it is a good game to get. I kind of like the way that they worked out things to explain, this, that, and the other thing. The way that Jill gets infected in remake is way better than in the original.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to make you think, oh, Carlos is a bad guy, because it's not Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the dude is like legitimate. Like, he finds out that Jill's in trouble and runs all the way across town to help her. So it's just like, the man has an honor code and he kept to it.
Yeah. So you probably need a minute to breathe after all that running.
Oh yeah. But he didn't. He didn't take it. Not once.
So, the original Resident Evil. How does one rank?
The highest of S ranks.
I can agree. Let's see here. First off, like I said, I'm old enough so I played this game on launch. So I was like 9 going on 10. And, freaking, it's scary to the point where I couldn't pick up another horror game for 10 years. Actually, not. Like, Resident Evil 5 was coming out when I finally got back into the series.
You know what made me put the game down for a while?
What?
The very beginning of the game, where you go back through that hallway after going through it the first time.
Yeah.
And the dogs jump through the windows.
For me, it's just that one cutscene, the zombie kind of turned to face you. That just leaked me out. And then when you do like the multiple playthroughs where some things have moved or changed, that kind of spooked the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that was.
Where's Richard's body? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah. So yeah. The one thing is sorry, I'm going to okay, that's good to know too. But although I think because I played remakes so much afterwards that when I finally got my hands on like the director's cut and then I tried playing it, and I literally fell asleep because I thought it was just so lacking. Like detail in the rooms and descriptions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like going back to it, like this is not as cool as I remember it. Like I actually fell fucking asleep.
Yeah.
So I need to go. I'll probably pick it up again and just like go through with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't mind the voice acting. Just
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the novel is good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Uh,
wasn't bad at all. So
yeah, hard to believe that game. Pretty much just start one of the biggest game franchises ever.
yeah, for real. And then it was the spiritual successor to Sweet Home.
Yeah,
So,
is that any good?
uh, I've never been able to play it. I've seen a little bit of gameplay, and it looks actually like for the time. I mean, I would play it. I mean, that's
Nice.
old. That's old, like DOS game, I think. So I'd probably try to find it somewhere and play it, but
Speaking of never been able to play it, Umbrella Corps. Oh boy, this one.
being able to play it,
Yeah,
immediate F rank.
yeah, like it gave me flashbacks to freaking Raccoon City, which is next we'll talk about. But yeah, and like it looked worse than Operation Raccoon City, which is a fucking feat. Um,
Yeah.
and a former streamer friend of mine, was he was playing through it. He's like, everyone else has to suffer through it too. Do it now. I'm like, okay. I don't know how I had a Steam copy, but so I would install it and the game would not start. I'm like, oh, I'm saved. It doesn't want to work. Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I did manage to get it to work. I mean, I'm sure like I mean, I don't have it on PC. I have it on PS4.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh fuck, that's right. It's on PS now, so I do have to play at some point.
um, but yeah. Like so, I have actually played it. Um, However, I never played the online component.
Okay.
Now, the umbrella that you're working for, which is the Umbrella Corps, is what we know from Resident Evil 7
Yeah.
as Blue Umbrella.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem with that. The administrator who takes over about halfway through the actual campaign story of what's there uh is voiced by DC Douglas.
Huh.
Who does DC Douglas voice in the rest of the series?
Albert Wesker.
That's Wesker.
Oh, Shay, thank you for the lurk, you sweetheart. Cute cutie.
Like, dude, if they decide legitimately that Wesker successfully cloned himself with Alex Wesker's help, bruh. Especially since there's a part in Resident Evil 8, which I mean in Village, where it makes you question Blue Umbrella.
Yeah.
Um, Less about Blue Umbrella, but more about the BSAA because it's very interesting what happens.
I'd say who would win a fight between the BSA and Blue Umbrella?
Chris,
Yeah.
one man army, just Chris.
Nice. I'll be right back with bathroom break.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, while the Tilly is away, how's everybody?
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hey, cool. Alrighty, so Operation Raccoon City.
That
Oh.
game was supposed to run?
That's just
But no, in all legitimacy, I'm gonna like put these two at the lowest point of the D rank because there's no other like can't be bothered to add another rank.
yeah. boy, I get to experience this game. Like, I'm sure it's semi-competent now, but I played it on Xbox 360 at launch. It needed patching bad.
Hey Tilly,
Yeah.
no. They abandoned it like 2 patches in.
Oh, joy. I wonder how it runs. Essentially,
Like shit.
like I can tell you that so you had like a team of 4.
Yep.
Your 3 teammates didn't do any damage. Their bullets did no damage.
Yeah, if they were an AI, they did nothing.
Yep. Surprisingly, their knives, their melee attacks do damage when they really did it. Like, I literally just found I had like one zombie left in a hallway, and I'm like, okay, you guys kill him, and they're just shooting this guy for infinity, and he ain't going down. Finally, one of the AI eventually just runs up to him and stabs him. Yeah. Literally, so a single regular zombie couldn't go down to 3 AI because their bullets did nothing. So essentially, you gotta do 4 times the amount of work.
Yeah.
And,
They did kind of fix that a little bit, but not enough.
Yeah. This is the day 1 experience. And items, this doesn't matter what your inventory look like. You can only hold 1 of every item. Like, you cannot, for some reason, you cannot pick up another second of that item. However, if you're playing Olga the medic, no. Olga the medic, she had infinite heals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And every time there's an ammo drop on the floor, no matter how big or little the box looks, you got full ammo on all your guns.
What?
Yep. As long as there's ammo around, you got near infinite ammo. They did do anything with the animation. Basically, when you shot a target, they didn't really register any pain or damage. They would just keep on charging or screaming and coming at you until they finally just drop dead. Yeah, so yeah, it's
silly.
like, yeah, so when you put some bullets in them and they kind of stagger for a little bit, there was no staggering. So it's like you got basically like you gotta jump around like an Elden Ring essentially when you're fighting like a hunter.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Those things are fast, bro.
Oh yeah.
No, thank you.
So yeah, they're basically like
Hell no.
It's like, and then of course the liquors were not fun at all. Oh, they're definitely like the hardest liquors. Eventually I tapped out the final level because it combined 2 Sangs that were snipers and crimson heads.
God.
Yeah, essentially, you couldn't stand in one place. You wanted to be moving when crimson heads would charge at you, especially ones that don't stagger. However, if you even dip your head out of cover, the snipers would get you. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I couldn't even get to the final boss, So yeah, that's the day 1 Raccoon City experience.
Oh man, so have you ever finished it?
No, that was the final level I couldn't get to between the snipers and the scripted team ups. So yeah,
Do you know how it ends?
Yeah, essentially, you face Leon and Claire as the last boss.
Yeah, and then you have to choose whether or not they live or die.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actual boss happens if you choose that they're going to live.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Shit game.
And
Still sucks.
Yeah, and this is one of the earlier sequels too, so we didn't really have too much Leon and Claire around. So it was so like, oh, we finally got him back again, and we got to kill him.
Yeah, for real. Like, that threw me off, and I was just like, okay. And another thing that really threw me off is because at this time they had the lore for the Plagas.
Mm-hmm.
And they used it in Operation Raccoon City.
I always say that I guess we're kind of cool. It looked cool. Like the environments were pretty cool. It looked like a proper Resident Evil game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And um, the fucking when the tires when you don't see them but you hear them running, that was kind of creepy.
That was terrifying. Yeah.
They made Nemesis a joke. Um, and I did like the fact that they gave. I love Nikolai in that game.
Yeah.
Because he seemed like a persistent, fucking bad guy. Like fucker got away again, or fucker blew my ass up with a detonated building. Oh man, he seemed like a good nemesis. But other than that, yeah, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I should get a friend to join me on that misery if we ever co-op that game.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Please get 2 more people, because god damn it, I refuse even a single AI teammate.
No. We gotta let one. We gotta let the doctor be an AIT so she got the infinite healing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Other than that, yeah, I suppose people in the '90s had to deal with the same thing in Resident Evil Survivor. Resident Evil Survivor.
Yeah, they did kind of have to deal with that, because that was very similar. Yeah, it was a very similar kind of, and I think that's why the Gun Survivor series wasn't as long as it could have been.
Yeah. I mean,
But it was
kudos to Capcom for giving it a couple tries.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, but yeah, the writing kind of blew ass. The voice acting was very bad. Yeah, and the game design. And I think if you speedrun, you beat the game in like 10 minutes or something. I don't know. I think it's something ridiculous.
It is. You get. You know what? I can actually look this up. Talking Survivor. Let's see. Speedrun.com. All right, let's pull this up, because I'm curious now. Legitimately, on an emulator with a PS1 emulator. This is from a year ago. And any percent. 37 minutes 3 seconds.
Oh.
This is on normal mode. On easy mode, you had 36 minutes 41 seconds. This is again emulator for legacy PS1 emulator, and it's any percent. Now, if you want to talk console, it's 37 minutes 31 seconds.
Jeez, imagine having the honor of being the record holder for this game.
What's up?
Imagine having that honor of being the record holder for Survivor.
Yeah, but you want to know something freaking hilarious for this?
What's that?
This is in any percent. The record holder is British.
Okay.
And used the Japanese PS2 for his console clear. 37 minutes, 31 seconds.
Must be like a load time thing.
Yeah. Again, same guy. Handgun A only. The first handgun. 38 minutes, 15 seconds. S rank. Same guy. 45 minutes, 58 seconds. So you can beat that game legitimately in under an hour.
Okay. Oh man, so where should I rank it?
Where would Survivor? I personally would put it down in the C rank, but above 2.
Okay. Get your own tier.
Because it's very interesting. I liked that they introduced a character that was friends with Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the character that you play in Survivor is friends with Leon.
I mean, so is Dante.
Yeah, by technicality.
uh,
um, I really think that they need to bring him back in a game that isn't a gun survivor. Personally, because he survived, so
he probably went to the same place Billy went to. Just to stay the fuck out of it.
man, we need a Billy game too because one like, and that's another thing too is there's so many outbreaks between the Raccoon City outbreak and the current timeline that they have a chance to have all of these characters come back in some way.
Yeah, I can imagine being smart. Like, I would never want to willingly go into a zombie situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you ever notice, it's always they get dragged into it because it happens on top of them.
Yeah. Yeah, at the time, yeah. But Billy's probably like, sipping freaking iced tea in Tijuana somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe if he got that far. Because if I remember correctly, based off of the description of Raccoon City and the Arklay Mountains in the game,
yeah.
in the games, it's actually only a few hours away from Chicago, a southwest of Chicago. It's not in Illinois, but it is in the center of the United States because it's in the Midwest.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
So he probably went to Canada.
I that would be closer. Yeah, I would have gone to Canada personally.
Oh, okay, and let's see here. Okay, on to one of the big ones. Code Veronica X.
D.
Really?
You'll understand.
Oh, yeah.
The number one, the Bandersnatch. Number two,
Yeah.
soft blocking yourself because you run out of ammo and
Same
didn't and forgot to pick up the sniper rifle. Oh, and by the way, since
Same
you
here.
already have, and since you're already to the point where the boss is gonna trigger, well, now you can't go back and get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why.
Yeah, so I would give it like a low C at most. Yeah, it's just they should have made this game a little more forgiving. So it has a lot of cool shit in it.
I will say I'll give it a high D because it's still better than 5.
Okay, high D.
As much as I hated the character,
Oh,
as
Steve
much as
sucks.
I hated Steve with a passion. He was a whiny little shit stain. But for some reason, Claire kind of cared about him, and it kind of hurt when he died. So
Let's see here. Still, I'll do your redeem later. I'm holding a cat right now. But yeah, because I freaking soft locked myself. As far as Steve, when he mutated, but because one, I forgot I didn't see the sniper rifle drop, so I wasted like all my ammo on the dad boss fight. Second, I couldn't find the Magnum anywhere. And third, I forgot you had to kill the worm as soon as you saw it in order to get the machine gun, so I missed out on 3 guns right there.
oh man,
And so, yeah, literally I had like nothing really to leave Chris, because I wasted all the money, the ammo on the dad fight.
Yeah.
And then when it came to Steve, you need like almost like a mandatory 2 heals, and I didn't have any heals left. So yeah, I basically soft locked myself there. Yeah.
So
beta snackers.
full disclosure.
Yeah.
Code Veronica X is the only Resident Evil game I ever game sharked.
Oh, cool.
I game sharked it and gave myself the frickin' weapon that I needed.
Nice.
And infinite ammo for it. But that's besides the point.
I don't know. The only game got game sharked with, was Final Fantasy 8. And that's not for lack of trying, because I could not get a game shark to work for it to save my life.
Yeah.
Okay, Stu, I can now do a bouncy, 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 bouncy. Say bouncy, 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 bouncy. Say bouncy, 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 bouncy. Oh, woo! So yeah. If anything, Code Veronica needed a remake big time.
Oh, absolutely. They can do it now. With the fact that they're going forward in time, we finally have two. We finally have three remade. Um, we finally saw, like, we actually legitimately saw uh the reason why in Resident Evil 2 you don't have a Brad zombie to do the unlock in 3. So the games are consistent and connected. So the next game that they can legitimately remake, if they actually wanted to, in the timeline, would be Code Veronica.
Yeah. Oh man. You know what also sucked too was respawning hunters. Oh, I remember the fucking poison moths.
Fuck those things, bro.
Oh man, look at checklist on Veronica's bullshit.
I think the biggest bullshit part of that game was the stupid ass Bandersnatches, man.
Yes, I agree.
Freaking Bandersnatch. Bullshit, man. I don't know why those things even exist. Did the devs, like, decide that they wanted to hate us for 5 minutes or something?
Eh. I could not get away from them.
Man, the easiest way to get away from them was to dump freaking acid rounds into them.
Yeah, fortunately though, for Code Veronica, that monsters always respawn. And
Yeah.
that game had probably like the highest amount of backtracking in all the classic Resident Evils.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was on the Lord.
Yeah, okay, but you know what's different but pretty good? Resident Evil Revelations.
I loved that game so much. It is going to go up there between Resident Evil Village and Nemesis.
Okay, so. Oops. Okay, so.
It's kind of a that's kind of a really big kind of a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time in a while that we were actually able to play Jill as our main character. And then, of course, introducing a greater weapons modification system was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Having still having your save boxes and your save spots and all of that, like, it felt like it had some classic Resident Evil stuff in it still. And then it gave you some new monsters, and one of those monsters was actually one of, like, in raid mode, I actually used this monster as a playable character. I play her. Rachel. The female agent that gets turned into she's effectively a tyrant, actually.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, because she's like Diet Nemesis.
Yeah, she is Diet Nemesis, but she's a very fun fight still. And I really enjoyed playing Revelations simply because it was something different. It was also the first game where you had an entire half of a game where you had to deal with, well, not even a half a game. Like, the entire game was freaking fish zombies, man. Like, you had piranhas that could show up in any fountain on the Queen Zenobia. When you went
outside the water to actually go under to fight one of the later bosses, right?
Mm-hmm.
You actually had to deal with zombified sharks from the T-Abyss virus. Um, you had to deal with so much, and it made it make sense. And personal opinion, it's got one of Jill's hottest outfits in the series.
Everyone was in a tight wetsuit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So full disclosure, if you look at my full body, um, my full body is actually inspired by a combination of Jill and Rachel.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. I and so in that holster there, in the holster is a Beretta Model 92 FS, which is the base firearm that was used as the inspiration for the Samurai Edge, the Stars service pistol.
Nice. You know your stuff.
Yeah. I've got 25 and a half years into
It's not a competition.
Oh no, that's really not. But I loved it. So I was really super young. Because I mean, you're probably got about as much into it as I do, timeline wise, if you think about it.
Yeah, for the most part, like I was there from the beginning, but also I let myself slip away for a good period.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I think one thing though is because it was kind of amazing how this game was originally for a minute there like 3DS exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it really gave some faith that we guys actually have some good games on the 3DS. 'Cause,
Yeah.
portable games like I love my PSP, but yeah, it was basically a PS 2.5. Yeah, even that but like So yeah, but 3DS, yeah, that was a good gaming system. But really, it's like they really should have taken out the AI partner that didn't do nothing. Yeah,
which is something that they did fix. I don't know if they ever fixed it for the DS, the 3DS version or whatever, but in the PC version, he actually does. He does stuff.
yeah, because I remember, it's another time where I played practically day one, when it came to consoles, and yeah, the AI didn't do any damage.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't nearly as annoying as Operation Raccoon City, but and I think when I played like a year or two ago, I think he does like maybe like 10% damage or something, like a very minuscule damage.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but it's still pretty minuscule.
Yeah.
But he actually does use his guns, which is, thank God.
Oh man. But that brings us to our last game, Resident Evil Quattro.
I feel like they should have went all in if they were gonna do a third-person shooter.
Yeah.
Because they had the technology. They could have done it.
Even back then.
I mean, yeah, even back then, because I mean, at that point, we had several Call of Duties that existed. Like, we knew that it could be done. They had the technology. They just weren't aware.
Yeah, like I this one not really one of my favorites because it throws so much at you.
Yes.
Like you got like look left right, so many freaking zombie villagers coming at you at once. And then you got like all the traps and stuff like that. It just it really wasn't for me.
No.
So yeah, like I basically like when I played it, I was playing my cousin's like save file where he had all the freaking infinite ammo rocket launchers and shit. But I guess I can respect it.
I
Yeah.
respect it enough to give it a C and not a D.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't respect it enough to give it a B is because they tried to keep the tank controls that everybody was used to,
Yeah.
but with a different camera style.
Yeah.
Now, if Resident Evil 4 had the fixed camera angles and kept the tank controls, it would have been just fine. But it tried to do both, and it didn't do both good.
At least we know it's gonna be fits in the remake.
Yeah, thankfully.
And I saw a little bit of footage from the remake. That's gonna be an interesting game. Oh man.
It is. It's gonna be interesting. I like Ashley's new outfit, and the fact that she's not freaking weird.
Hmm?
And by weird, I mean she's not trying to get in Leon's pants every 5 seconds.
I really only picked up on that at the end, but I mean, it's like, damn, Leon. Yeah, Leon literally, like, so many girls are, throwing their coochie at him, and he just keeps again, it's like, he's like, well, swat him down and stuck, because he only wants the Ada, the one that's, that's playing hard to get.
Yeah. Which I feel like that's because he's kind of stuck on her after she saved his life several times.
Right.
But,
Yeah, because let's see here. Helena wanted to get with him. Rachel wanted to get with him. Let's see here. Ashley. Looked like they're finally gonna. They sort of look like they're about to put him with Claire in Infinite Darkness, but then they had to sing that kind of split them up. So, I thought that was a good twist.
And I kind of like that they didn't do that, because Infinite Darkness was set prior to the other CGI movies.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So for example, it was Degeneration.
Yeah.
With Degeneration, if they had Claire and Leon had a relationship, it would have made that even weirder.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that one, the SWAT, the special tactics member that they have, that Leon goes swimming with.
Oh yeah, Rachel.
I don't remember what her name is. But no, she was the sister of the dude who turns into the tyrant. Her name was Angela Miller.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I got those mixed up. Because I was thinking of her face, but I don't know why I gave her Rachel. But yeah.
They have a very similar model, actually.
Oh.
And that's it. And another thing too is there is some kind of possibility that kind of was alluded to in 6, where Hunnigan kind of breaks the law to help him.
Mm-hmm.
But why would she do that?
I wonder why. You'll have to play to find out.
Well, it's not explicitly showed in the game, but Leon... Well, this part is actually explicitly shown in the game. Leon flirts with her.
Really?
Hard. Yeah, when he first radios her after getting to the... One of the first times he radios her after in Resident Evil 4, he flirts with her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's another one on Leon's list. Like I said, he could have been married by now if he wouldn't be chased after Ada.
Let's see. Angela, Ingrid, Helena.
Mm-hmm.
Claire. Ada.
Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley. Which they finally made her look more like an adult from what I've seen, so...
Hey, Chibi, darling. I bet you there's probably some dude that wants to give him too. Yeah. Hey, Chibi, darling. Mwah.
I think that's the most interesting thing. Like that Ashley had a depth that people didn't kind of realize because they didn't play to it enough.
Yeah. Oh, I'll show them the cute emotes. I think you think this list seems legit.
Yeah, I think it's pretty legit. I mean, it's definitely nothing like. I mean, everybody's gonna have their different opinions, and I mean, I firmly believe that this is how I would put mine. Uh, I I actually, because of how well the game actually plays, I would put Umbrella Corps higher than Operation Raccoon City, for example. People would tend to disagree with me, but hey, at least Umbrella Corps actually ran on day one.
Oy.
Sure, the models were stiff and everybody hated the gunplay in the online mode, but
Yeah.
at least it ran.
Oh, damn. Let's see. That is 14, 19, 22, 28 Resident Evil games. Golly.
Yeah. There's a lot.
How many things are gonna beat before we die? This is.
A lot more.
Anyways, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me and come and talk about this again.
Yeah, of course. I love me some Resident Evil, so.
Ooh, next time around, let's rank the characters.
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a whole nother topic that I'm all about.
Oh yeah, set aside some more time for that one. It's just.
Yeah. I will let you know when my next schedule comes out, so that way we can set up time.
Okay. Yeah. I can't do too many podcasts these days with the freaking if I have 10 freaking roommates.
Yeah.
Fortunately, cause I put out that podcast sign up sheet, and then I immediately realized why I stopped doing podcasts for a second there. Yeah. Essentially, if y'all want to do podcasts to me, you gotta be willing to go on very short notice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I can't plan ahead. So it's hey, you want to go tonight? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we're gonna raid a her name is Occulta Moonchild. She's 2 followers shy of 50, so if we try to get her to affiliate, that'd be great. And currently playing Dead by Daylight, and I see some Leon DLC in there. So
Heck yeah, let's go. I'm about to follow. Let's do it.
okay.
I'm all about getting small streamers more people.
Hell yeah. And yeah, I broke that 1,000 ceiling, so now I gotta pay it forward. All right, Don. So I'll try to catch you tomorrow. Yeah. Mwah. Love yous.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Heck yeah.